Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well, good morning on this frosty, chilly morning. So great to see so many hardy Minneapolitans out today. Greetings, honored guests, elected officials, public servants, friends from across the river, our cousins in St. Paul and around the region. A special welcome to friends and especially the families of those who are taking office today. My name is Scott Dibble. I have the great honor of serving, representing a part of Minneapolis in the state Senate, but probably more importantly, oh yes, please be seated, thank you very much. You don't have to stay standing for me, I'm just a senator. But most importantly, I worked in this building for 6 years, so it is my tremendous honor to be here and a part of this celebration today. And we are here today, of course, to celebrate and witness the inaugural and taking office of some amazing individuals. Taking office today will be Alondra Cano, Lisa Bender, Andrew Johnson, Lene Palmisano, Blong Yang, Jacob Fry, Abdi Warsami, Cam Gordon, Kevin Reich, Elizabeth Glidden, Lisa Goodman, John Quincy, Barbara Johnson, and of course, Mayor Betsy Hodges will also take her oath of office in front of all of you today. Before we continue, of course, I'd like to take a moment to bring our previous mayor, R.T. Ryback, into our thoughts, send him wishes for restored health. I know he's very disappointed he can't be here today. We thank him for years of service to this great city. We hold his family close in our hearts during this difficult time. And while we're at it, we also think about the amazing mayors who have passed before and the city council members on whose shoulders we all stand and who have helped build the great city that we inherit and is entrusted to this amazing group of people today. So here we are, first day of school. I'm guessing some of you are a little nervous, but that's okay because that means this matters, because you've been entrusted with an awesome responsibility. But know this, you're up to the job because each of you brings so much to this work. Amazing, varied, and interesting backgrounds, deep connections to the communities that make up this great city, a passion for caring, for justice, for building an even better city that works for everyone who lives, who works, who plays, who learns, who worships in this amazing place. Now the campaign is over and the governing begins. And now you represent all of the people in this city, not just the people who voted for you or the people you were able to mobilize to support your candidacy. And we know that Minneapolis is a special place. We talk about it all the time, but it's worth saying out loud here today. The level of engagement by its citizens, the quality of life we enjoy, the amazing parks, the sense of fairness and tolerance. I could not myself personally have been more proud in that day, November 6, 2012, when Minneapolis led the numbers from between 80 to 95% rejecting not one, but two constitutional amendments that would separate Minnesotans from their basic freedoms, the freedom to form their families, the freedom to vote. That is the promise of our country, but it's not being kept for many, and you're here to advance it. So if I were to leave you here with any advice, it would be bring a sense of joy and fun, collaborate. Power in this system is diffuse by design. That's a good thing, but understand how to be effective in that context. And even if you have a good long run, your time in public service is limited. So notice it, treasure it, be fully present. Be deliberate and thoughtful, certainly, but also be impatient, because the time for justice, for equality, for freedom is always right now. Yes. So thank you, DJ Steele, for your beautiful music. We're going to continue on with the ceremony now. I invite Rabbi Michael Latz to bless this event.
Good morning. As Senator Dibble said, we hold Mayor Ryback and his family in our hearts and our prayers, and we think those two, the three souls who died last week at the Cedar fire, as well as the others who were wounded. May they be healed speedily and soon. This new day, almost 90 years ago, Evelyn and Toby, my Jewish grandmothers, were born to a Minnesota that was in their infancy for their right to vote, where anti-Semitism suffocated the moral core of the city and racism bled through the bones of government halls and city roads and public parks and country clubs and universities. One of my grandmothers grew up to be an artist, the wife of a traveling salesman, the mother of 3 daughters, and a fierce advocate for family and tradition. My other grandmother was deaf, so much denied her because society couldn't see past her disability. She raised her 5 sons in North Minneapolis, married my grandfather, who was a union typesetter, an activist in the deaf community, and a bowler. My grandmothers lived on the edge of life in Minneapolis, uncertain but full of love, hoping for a brighter future for their children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Their great-granddaughters, now 10 and 6.5, are home in Minneapolis. We are home. Last week they got to see the mayor sworn in at the kids' ceremony. Our daughters attend Minneapolis public schools, where on days where it's not too cold, their teachers teach them well and believe in them and support them and guide them to become fabulous young women, where their 2 dads volunteer and work with them on spelling tests and projects about light and hurricanes and stamps, and their family is loved and appreciated. My grandmother's great-granddaughters were witness to a proud woman become their mayor, alongside a woman who is police chief and women heading city council, rising proudly with Somalis and Latinas and Hmong and Catholics and Protestants and Jews, each elected by the people of this city, all leaders, everyone home in Minneapolis. This new day, let our mayor shine with the gratitude of history and the prayers of our sisters and our sons and our grandmothers and their descendants upon a Minneapolis that now beholds the beauty of all of our creation and the diversity of peoples born to this land for generations and those new to our exquisite and frozen shores. This new day we are proud in all that we have accomplished, and we join in celebration of all we have become. This new day, this new year, this new beginning, let us embrace the call of our past and the fierce promise of today as we rise to create together one Minneapolis, where every child can look to this podium and into the eyes of this new mayor and this new city council and see in her future, in his future, that some distant day ahead themselves, they are standing here, leading their beloved community forward. Our sacred responsibility is to work together, to listen to one another, to daily practice empathy and compassion and radical hospitality, to put down our weapons and lift up our hearts and our hands, seeking mutual understanding and respect to make it so. This new day, we ask your blessings for this new mayor. May her light shine with bold courage, and may she lead with the tender urgency and robust compassion we have all come to love. And for our city council, may they lead with creativity, with civility, and mutual respect. And for us, the citizens of this great city of Minneapolis, may we celebrate the best of who we are and dream the biggest dreams we can dream and work together to lift our eyes to the horizon and make for those who come next a city worthy of their dreams. This new day we are blessed. So, Madam Mayor, City Council, let's get to work. Amen.
So this may be the last time you see me, so I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of what to expect. We're going to hear an amazing poem in just a moment, some music. We'll have the oath of office. We'll hear from the Reverend Alfred Babington Johnson, who will bless us on the way out, and then we have about 45 minutes or so to mingle and have a little reception here in this space. So we're very, very fortunate, of course. Like I said, Minneapolis is an amazing place, and part of why it's so amazing is a rich cultural life. We have artists of all kinds of the highest international caliber here, and we're going to hear from some of those. They're going to read Minneapolis, a City in Verse, from poets and spoken word artists, and I'll read their names and invite them forward. Brian Beatty, Paula Chizeski, John Colburn, Heidi Erdrich, Ed Bach Lee, Bao Fee, Kirk Washington Jr., Allison Broren, Nemo Farah, Sarah Fox, Andrea Jenkins, Juliet Patterson, Sun Yung Shin, and Doug Wildhide. Thank you.
One Minneapolis, a City in Verse. Lake Nokomis, Minnehaha Creek, or hosed over out-of-season ball fields and frozen for winter weekend hockey. The native waters that call leagues home, we now navigate by pink-orange streetlights and those winking diamond-like stars we consider ourselves lucky to see, even when they're airplanes. Down the block, a dozen or so kids play a pickup game in the early dark. There's skates singing, "Stay inside, neighbors. Fall asleep in your chairs. We've got this."
Irony overflows from the chain of lakes. Parrots walk their people, people push stroller dogs, and cats on leashes leap at passing sails. In the streets of Uptown, we add snow to ski in winter, melt hot pavement for art in the summer, and in between take nice ride urban cruises to islands of outdoor seating. We are thrift store treasure hunters, bowling alley theater goers, old money freedom, pop-collared hopefuls, a shaking globe, floating by each other, each flake unique, each needing the other to know that they are snow.
Language describes the ideas of the ones who speak it. The single stories about the fifth ward and the words we see that narrate gentrification in real time say a lot. I speak the gospel of the North Side with the rage of lovers and perceive in my dreams a unified breath that electrocutes fear and misunderstanding. To remain apathetic is assured enslavement. So precisely, what is a dream?
We've lived here since before the world was slated to end and didn't end and was quickly predicted to end again. Memory's train whistle and hope's bicycle bell reel through our windows and seep into our dreams. And every year, like clockwork, we can hardly believe how beautiful the leaves.
We are such rootless bodies most of our lives, all of us seeking urgently what we cannot name. Many of us not from around here. We leave, we dream, we wander, we roam. City of beautiful lakes and lovers, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, ice rink winters, swimming summers. Show us how to make this place, this refuge, this gift, our home.
First, we begin with history. 20 years ago, almost to the day, a determined young black woman was elected to the Minneapolis City Council, eventually becoming mayor. Time lapse to the future. The inequities have deepened and plunged us like the I-35W bridge into a river of despair. Today, we gather at the town square to install the second woman mayor. Hope reigns supreme that she is one who cares. Let's start something.
Thank you to our musician artists Avi Sojlowski and Sam Durbin from the MacPhail Center of Music. And now, Madam Mayor, if you would join me. Raise your right hand. Do you, Betsy Hodges, having been elected to the office of mayor, now solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of Minnesota, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Minneapolis, and that you will well and faithfully perform the duties provided for you as mayor for the term to which you have been elected to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do so swear.
Congratulations, Mayor Hodges.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Minneapolis, we can be more than just a great city. We get to demand more of ourselves and of each other. We get to aim higher. We must aim higher because by itself, being a great city isn't good enough for us. By itself, being a great city isn't a goal worthy of our strength as a people. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to meet with President Obama. And I'll be honest, there were moments of awe at being in the same room with the leader of the wealthiest and most powerful nation on earth. But I wasn't there to get my picture taken or to gape at the portraits, although I did both of those things, and it was pretty cool. I was there on behalf of the people of Minneapolis. So when the president invited me to speak, I carried this message to him from our people. I told him that Minneapolis is a growing, well-run city that is having great success. And he agreed, of course. I also told him about the gaps we face in Minneapolis. Gaps between white people and people of color that are the widest in the country. I told him that it must be possible for white people and people of color to all thrive in one city and in one region, and that we in Minneapolis, we would be the ones to do it. And I told the President of the United States that my goal for Minneapolis is just that, to get that right. And when we get that right, we will become a beacon for the entire country. It's a powerful thing to tell your president that. It's more powerful to do it. Every elected leader in this rotunda today was sent here by the people of Minneapolis to do three things: grow our city, continue to run it well, and eliminate the gaps between white people and people of color that divide us from each other and will hold us back from being more than great. This is our call, Minneapolis, to make our city more than great. What does it mean to heed that call, to be more than great as we do these three things, as we grow our city, as we run it well, as we eliminate our gaps? We were sent here by the people of Minneapolis to grow our city. To grow our city and make it more than great means, above all, that we must grow a population where 500,000 people, no, 500,001 people live and thrive in Minneapolis with the greatest density along our transit corridors. That goal is ambitious, and it is critical to our success. It also means that every part of Minneapolis, we must maintain and grow the middle-class backbone of our city. That backbone is the envy of every other city in the country. It has kept us strong, and it will make us stronger. What will it look like when we grow a city that is more than great? Let me give you a few snapshots. In Northeast, Central, and North Minneapolis, every house on every block is full. The population is growing at a faster clip than the rest of the city, and they are adding jobs and businesses faster than the rest of the city. Arts, commerce, and housing make these neighborhoods destinations in their own right, and modern rail, LRT, and streetcars spur this growth as they make their way through the streets and through our neighborhoods. In downtown Minneapolis, Nicollet Mall is the envy of every other street in the country. A modern streetcar lets people off at a reanimated street level to go to businesses, shopping, entertainment, and housing. Hennepin Avenue is not only a destination for the arts and culture, but a great place in its own right. In Southeast Minneapolis, both students and longtime residents have homes in green, walkable neighborhoods that have led the way in maximizing the benefits of urban rail transit. In Southwest Minneapolis, we retain the beauty and charms of our livable neighborhoods, and citizens choose to embrace density and shape it to build community and sustainable development. We were sent here by the people of Minneapolis to grow our city. We were also sent here to continue to run it well. And now let's be frank. Over the past decade, we have been great at running the city well. No one played a larger role in that than R.T. Ryback, who we miss here today and wish a speedy but thorough recovery. We ran the city well, not by luck, though, but through hard work and our willingness to make really tough choices. We watched our bottom line, and we're better off for it. We have delivered structurally balanced budgets in which the large majority of taxpayers have paid less, or at least no more, in property taxes for 3 successive years. We took on a tough, seemingly no-win challenge to reform a broken, closed pension system. We didn't back down, and taxpayers and pensioners are better off for that. For years, we fought at the state capitol on behalf of Minneapolis and cities across Minnesota. Finally, thanks to real partners in Governor Dayton and the majorities in the legislature, we have stability in our financial relationship with the state of Minnesota. Our thanks go out to them again. As a result of that work, the elected officials in this hall today have the opportunity to govern a city that is in great shape, one that has recovered economically faster and better than any other major city in America. But we still have tough choices to make. To be more than great as we run the city well, we must continue to keep a firm hand on the tiller. We must do this even in the face of temptation. The pull to restore what has been lost must be tempered by the knowledge that our taxpayers have lost as well. The same principles that carried us through the challenges of the last decade must be the principles that guide us through the recovery of this decade. We were sent here by the people of Minneapolis to grow our city. We were sent here by the people of Minneapolis to continue to run it well. But we were also sent here finally to eliminate the shameful, intolerable gaps in outcomes between white people and people of color in our city. And again, let's be frank. We've been good at some aspects of doing this work, but we haven't been great, and we need to be more than great. And a crucial component is acting like one Minneapolis as we become one Minneapolis. Too often we see ourselves as great pieces of a city. Our lakes and parks are wonderful. Our marquee arts institutions are championed. Our riverfront is a crown jewel. And all of that is true. Those things make our city great. But that conversation about ourselves as a set of pieces rather than a whole highlights the divisions in our city. The absence of all parts of our great city in that conversation allows our gaps to persist. Let's think bigger about ourselves and our city, Minneapolis. Let's have an imagination for ourselves that includes everyone, every neighborhood. Imagine promoting the Native American Cultural Corridor on Franklin Avenue. Imagine letting the world know that East Lake Street is a cosmopolitan destination for food and shopping and culture. Imagine taking your out-of-town guests to the myriad opportunities for recreation, dining, and community along 38th Street. Imagine West Broadway in its renaissance, every storefront thriving, easily accessed by a modern streetcar, connecting it to the rest of the city and the region with housing for long-term and new residents both. And please, right now, let's take a moment to think about Cedar Riverside. We pause to remember with sorrow the 3 people lost there in last week's tragedy and the families that they left behind. Please join me for a moment for them. But as we and the community mourn together, the energy of the neighbors and the dynamism of the businesses there continues. Cedar Riverside will become even more vibrant as it is woven even more tightly into the fabric of the city by new transit and pedestrian connections. If we do this right, when we do this right, we will begin to weave our entire city and all our neighborhoods together fully, not merely in our conversations, but in our hearts and in our minds as well. We will see one Minneapolis, and then we will know we can be one Minneapolis. What does this have to do with eliminating the disparities and outcomes we face? Everything, everything. There are and will be many detailed policy prescriptions to come about ending these gaps, about housing and transportation, employment and health, kids before they're born and kids while they're in school. We must align all of our goals at the city to ending our gaps between white people and people of color, and our work and our policy must reflect that. But along with that policy, we must also invite ourselves to think bigger about who we are and what's at stake for ourselves as well as all of our neighbors when we get this right. Yes, being more than great at ending these disparities is the smart thing to do, because when we do it, there will be no limit to our growth or to our greatness as one Minneapolis. But it is also the right thing to do, not because it's about charity or obligation. When we lose connection to our neighbors, when we lose each other this way, we ourselves are diminished. We lose something fundamental in our lives that we don't fully know is missing until we try and recapture it. No, it is not about charity or obligations. It is about people coming together and caring for one another. It is about people coming together and valuing one another. When we do that collectively, we become a true community, and somehow, at the same time, we restore ourselves fully as individuals. This past November, we as a people elected new and returning leaders who carried the message of one Minneapolis. We are now transitioning together into governing. Government, and specifically local government, is one of the key places where we as a community come together and decide who we are as a people. Government is one reflection of whom collectively we have decided to be. Government is where we answer questions like, will we be a nation where anyone really can become president? Will we be a state where everyone is allowed to marry the person that they love? And will we be a city where every kid walks a path that can lead to success? And local government, specifically the government of the city of Minneapolis, is where we have the power and the duty to heed the call to become more than just a great city. When we heed that call, when we head together towards something bigger than ourselves and by so doing find one another, that moment is when we become more than just a great city. It is when we become a great people. That, Minneapolis, that is our call, to be a great people. So yes, the leaders on this stage are charged with fulfilling promises we made to the people of Minneapolis this last year to grow our city, to run it well, and to end our gaps. But more than that, we are charged with heeding the call, with making manifest the promise of this city and our people, This is a call to more than simply service. This is a call to become servants to a people who entrust us with decisions about our collective future. This is our call, Minneapolis, to be more than just a great city, to be a new city, shining as a beacon brightly enough to show our nation and the world that when we come together as a people, in government and in community, it is possible to be transformed. Thank you.
Do each of you, having been elected members of the Minneapolis City Council, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of Minnesota, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Minneapolis, and that you will well and faithfully perform the duties provided for you as a council member representing the various wards of this city during the terms to which you have been elected to the best of your abilities, so help you God. Congratulations, all of you.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Johnson, President of the Minneapolis City Council. I want to thank all of you, friends, family, residents, employees, and fellow elected officials and appointed officials who have joined us today on this cold morning. We are embarking on a new day with 7 new colleagues, and that has really been quite a story since the election happened. As I think over our city's recent history, it actually is not without precedent. When Mayor Rybeck was elected, we had a new mayor and 7 new council members. And also in the 1970s, there was a big transition with a new mayor and 6 new council members, all of whom were very young, actually, at the time. Thinking back on that, I thought, what is different about this new group of young folks who are getting inaugurated today? And it seems to me that it's the international nature of the elected officials that were sworn in today. We've all seen the work of new immigrants in our city, and now we have that change reflected in elected leadership. I think we can learn much from the qualities that have been exhibited by these newcomers. Entrepreneurship, hard work, respect for education, and care for their families are some of the qualities that I really admire. And I welcome the chance to make stronger connections with these neighbors and hope that my new colleagues will help all of us do just that. We are a diverse city, and the challenges across neighborhoods vary greatly. From public safety, property tax burden, the achievement gap, unemployment, and concentration of poverty, all of these must be addressed with equal attention. We have so many good things to be proud of: strong neighborhoods, a successful downtown, a land-grant university in our city, economic strength which supports our activities, and most of all, an engaged citizenry. As we begin a new 4-year term, we are fortunate to have the wind at our backs as we move the city forward in a way that benefits all of our citizens. I look forward to working with our new mayor and my new and returning colleagues and hope that we all use our talent and experience to serve the citizens of this great city. I also want to thank right now our city clerk, who is the person who swore us in, for all the hard work on preparing this program today, and the employees that have helped so hard during this transition and inauguration. The clerk's office, our wonderful Municipal Building Commission, which takes such good care of this building, our communications department, police and fire, and all the other city departments that had a part in preparing us for this great day. Thank you very much.
Let's look to God. Oh God, our help in ages past, you're our hope for years to come. You've been our shelter in the stormy blast. You are our eternal home. And even as we've come now to this inauguration moment, even as we've heard the oath taken, we hear, "So help me God." We're mindful that government is instituted among men by you. We're aware that you are the author and the finisher, the developer of purpose and the setter of outcomes. And so now, Lord, as we have this extraordinary new mayor, as we have these council people taking office, we ask that you will set into their minds and into their hearts your purposes. We do want to be a great people living in a great city. We do want to be mindful of those who have the greater need. We do want to be mindful that you have knit us together because that is your purpose and plan, that we be one people in one great city, in one great nation, in one extraordinary world. So thank you for this moment. Thank you for these you've appointed. We pray on them your blessing. We pray for them your wisdom. We pray for them your protection. We ask, oh God, that we would have a spirit of cooperation that will lead us forward to accomplish your purposes. In the name of the Christ, amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Thanks to all of you for joining in this wonderful, joyous civic celebration. That concludes the ceremony. There's going to be a receiving line. They know better where than I do, but there will be a receiving line with the council members and the mayor so you can greet them. And we have, like I said, about 45 minutes, and then they get to work up in the council chambers shortly after that. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Stay warm. Receiving line is over there.